perfect from the bottom to the top.
Hi, and welcome to DIY with Jeannie, or welcome back if you are a repeat visitor, and I appreciate you. If you have not already, please click that little subscribe link. You can watch the video first and decide if you like me. If you don't like me, that's okay. Don't hit subscribe. But I'd really like it if you did. And we do all things crafting. Right now we are doing all things sewing. And today we are doing a pattern from 1970. I can't remember. Give me a minute. Let's see. 1979. But I am doing a tunic. I'm doing it out of a cotton right now, but I think we could also do it out of a stretch jersey and be just as cute. But I'm doing this particular tunic without the belt. I'm not a big belt person, so it should hang straight. Has the little openings, the little slits on both sides. Has the slit at the neck. I think if we do it out of a jersey knit with a boat neck, I won't put the V-neck in, and I think it would be really, really cute. Now, this pattern only has 4 pieces. Yeah, 4 pieces for this make. So we're only doing this piece, the neck, the front and the back of the neck. So the yoke piece for inside, the back curve of the neck that goes on the inside so that you don't see extra material. And then the front and the back. And they're done not on the fold, but I think if we did them in the knit, we could do it on the fold and not have a seam up the front at all. But we will have a seam up the front on this one. Now the fabric I'm using is interesting. So we have 2 pieces of interfacing. We have the piece that goes on the back of the neck. We have the piece of interfacing that goes on the front piece of the neck. I have traced it on tracing paper, put in my grain line so I know which way the grain runs, put in my mark so I know where to quit sewing up the front, where that's going to be, and then it has a 5/8 seam allowance. So I needed 2. This is the letter. This is where the seam stops. This is my grain. And then we have our 2 pieces of interfacing, one for this and one for that. And I cut them a little smaller so that when we go to put them in, so here we go. So if it's like so, then I'll be able to fold this up, run my seam, and it'll be good. Now, what I was telling you about this particular fabric, which is kind of interesting, is it is a very ethnic looking fabric, and I personally love it. I think it looks a lot Southwest, a lot African. It's just a beautiful, but one side is this gold and the opposite side is green, and that's the way the fabric is. It's not that I got 2 different pieces of the same fabric. At the fold line was the green versus the brown. So kind of excited about that. I would say it could have been laying out in the sun, and that's what happened. But if you'll notice here, it's just the way it prints. It's the intent of the designer. So again, we have the gold on one side and the green on the opposite side. The first thing we're going to do is sew the back up the middle. Is that the back? That's the front. Put that to the side. I say that. I could be wrong. Yeah, there it is. So, this is the back. We're going to put our darts in at the neck. So, I've got that drawn in. So, we want to put the dart up here on both sides. Get that sewn in and sew down the middle. Pretty sure that's right. Yep. So down the middle. We're going to do the same for the front. Put the darts at the spot. Whoa. Put the darts at the spot under the arm. sew up the middle, stop at that point where we want to leave the V. So I've got that marked, on here. That's the back. For our front piece. And I know this is crinkly paper, and I apologize for that. But so we have, and I'll put a pin at that dot because that is where the V-neck stops. So I'll put a pin straight across so that when I'm seaming up the middle, I won't go too far. So let me put these right sides together. And then we will go seam up the middle of both, and then we'll do the darts. We have a generous seam allowance on this. It's a 5/8 inch, which I think is way lots. So we're going to put this right here, because that is where our V will stop. You can see that right there. Let me move it down just a hair. There we go. So I'm going to seam from here down to the bottom. Then I am going to go over here. Let me go ahead and pin these. So I'm going to pin that together so that we have our beginning of our the word dart. The beginning of our dart on there. It's going to start right there. And then it is going to end here. I'm just going to put a pin so that I know how long my dart is. And I'll do that on both sides. We'll do the same for the back. Again, our dart is up here. It's a smaller dart, but we're going to put it wrong sides together and then go over and sew down the middle and then sew and press our darts. So let's readjust and put my little mark together there. I'm going to go ahead and just pin it right there because I know where that is. The top is less important because we've got the neck coming in, but it should all meet up really well as they were cut together. Put that like so, and then we'll come back and see the little dart here that I have already cut. So we're going to sew down the middle on the back. We're going to sew down the front, down the middle of the front, and then we're going to sew our darts in and get them ironed and get our seams ironed while we're at the sewing machine. So let's get that started. Well, I just sewed that entire tunic without sharing it with y'all. So I will show that to you in just a minute, but what I wanted to show you right now is we're going to take our collar, and on the inside we want to put our interfacing. So one side is shiny and one side is not. So we're going to put the shiny side down and iron it down. I did not do it here because that is where we're going to sew it together to the front, And then I moved the side in because we're going to want to bring that in and hem it. So see, it's got glue, and it should, it did not, has it over here? No, it has not. Okay, so I'm going to need to let it sit longer. We're going to do that with the collar and the front yoke, and then I will show you the piece I just sewed and did not share with you, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, I did not take you with me when I went to sew that. I mean, I took you with me, but I forgot to hit record. So, what was, we sewed from that point where I put the pin, and then ironed it open, put our darts in on both sides of the front, and ironed it open, all the middle of the back, and the darts, ironed it open, ironed the darts out, and then ironed the interfacing onto our pieces. And the best thing about this is that there's a sticky side, and I think I showed you that. And then you just have to, it just takes heat for a few minutes for it to work. So there is the first part now. Now we are going to take our front and our back and sew these together. So let me pin them together, and we'll go over and sew them real quick. After we get these sewed front and back, we are going to sew just around. We really don't have to with this because we have iron-in interfacing. The iron-in part of it will keep us from stretching it, and that's why you want to put a base stitch around there. It's called something. I can't remember right now. If I remember, I'll post it. But what you want, you don't want to stretch your fabric, and it's so easy to stretch it out of shape if you're not careful. So we are going to put a pin in for there, put a pin in for here, and we're going to sew that together. Make sure I have it lined up. And remember, we have that 5/8 inch, so I want to make sure that pin is way down. So we'll get this put together, and yeah, it folds over because we have the seam, the 5/8 for each side, so that's why it's open in the middle. So we're going to leave that and get it sewn together. Once we have it, we'll come back and pin it. Actually, we also want to sew our shoulders together. So let me get the front side and see how one side is this and one side. And I kind of like that, and I'm thinking it's going to look really cute. So let me get that and pin it to the shoulder seams here. So let's put our shoulder seams together. We start down here at the end of the arm, up all the way to the neck area. Okay, that. Let's do the other side. Start at the arm. And remember, we're going to start, if we start at the neck and sew down, we're going to start at the neck and sew down. So that whatever pulling we end up with, it's equal on both sides. We're going to start at the sleeve and sew up for this one. This we're going to sew from the out in on both sides. So let's go get that done. Okay, we have front to back sewn. Let's see if I can show you. And, wrong. So I've got the front to the back, and we have our shoulders ironed, open. So there's that. We have our neck ironed, and our interfacing done. So now what we want to do is attach our interfacing to our shirt, and then we'll do the side seams, and then the hemming, and then we're done. So let's open it up. There's our darts. Let's put our neck in. We're going to have 1,000 pins, I feel like, so fold in half. We want to make sure we have it in half, and I'm going to cut just a little tiny triangle. We have 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, so if I cut that out, I know where the center is. I know where the center of the back is. So I'm going to put right sides together. Put that right there. And put our pin in. Five-eighths seam allowance in. And it's circular, so we'll do that real quick. And then we'll figure out from there. Cut that corner off just like I did a minute ago, but I didn't tell you why. and that takes the bulk out of this corner so that when we turn it, it's not a big chunk of fabric in there. Excuse me. Let's flip this inside out. No, let's flip this right side out. Turning tool. Okay, we're going to take our turning tool to turn this point out because we want it to be a good point there. But we're just going to work it out. We don't want to push too hard because we don't want to pop through the seam. But we do want to get a nice, there we go, point there. And do the same over here. Then we're going to take it and iron it down. And then we're going to sew a top seam, and I'll show you how that works. So let me work this one out. See how I'm just working it back and forth and just using the point of that tool to get it down in there. There's that. There's that. So we want to iron this so that we have a nice flat seam all the way around, and then we're going to do a stitch about 1/8 of an inch in to keep this folded inside. So everything should stay together. I may have to go in on the inside and do some hand stitching, but we will come to that bridge when we get there. Let's see how it... Okay, I went with a gold thread for our top stitching because I thought that would look better. The under stitching is kind of a white. So there is what I was talking about. Comes all the way down to the bottom, makes a little corner, and up and around. Now that will keep it laid down. And there is that. And I really like it. I think it came out really nice. Hopefully it will fit well. The only challenging part was the neck, and I think I'll get better at that. But there we go. There is our little top. And like I said, hopefully, I know I will. It's just practice. I just need to practice. So there we go. And this was scrap fabric. If it does not work out, if it doesn't fit the way I want it to, then I know with this one how to modify the pattern. So again, I did not spend money on this. I've had it in my stash forever. I could not tell you where I got it. I've had it that long. So yeah, pretty happy with it. Hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this or more DIY content, I would appreciate if you would subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you would do differently. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you next time. Like I said, I would like to try this again with a boat neck or a square neck. I think that would be cute. And that is coming up soon. We'll see how this fits first and go from there. Thanks for spending time with me. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.